And it is time for round 3. With 1-1, Team Silly Avatar is one step away from having to reveal who got Cool Guy the Silly Avatar, and Team Retribution is just one loss away from having to keep the Silly Avatar brought to them by the mysterious benefactor.
Certainly some important stakes in this particular matchup. We have arrived at the Argus Gate 3 versus 3 map, which is quite a favorite, I believe. It is one of the few maps that have very clear lanes, so there's a lot of 1 versus 1 going on, with a lot of opportunities to suddenly flank one of your teammates' lanes in case you need help. The mid lane is going to be important, of course, since 2 of the victory points are stationed there, whereas the top lane has the 3rd one. With the bottom one pretty much just being, so to say, safe power lane that still can't get neglected.
Yeah, you can never neglect the resources, but we already have a minor engagement in the middle. But it looks like, actually, it looks like they might lose those Eldars. Now they have the Banshees to back them up, but it's still wasn't the best engagement.
Looks like Cool Guy's already lost his starting Slugger squad, which is going to be a serious problem against Tyranids, especially since shooters don't tend to fare particularly well against that matchup. We have had a bit of changes in regards to the different races. Well, Team Retribution is pretty much rolling with the same units they did last time, although I'm frustrated it did change his hero. Whereas Brainamp has changed out his Chaos Lord for the Plague Champion. Irritep has forsaken the filthy Eldar ways and has gone with the Lord General. And Lemonrid has... No, wait, Lemonrid was the Eldar, my bad. But anyway, Imperial Guard and Tyranids.
Yep, Team Silly Avatar liked changing their guys around. I'm not surprised that Brainamp has stayed with Chaos, because in the first round he wasn't, and Chaos is kind of what he's known for, at least in my opinion. That's what he tends to play the most. That is where he got the amazing dual victory.
Yeah, and it does seem like Cool Guy's been got pushed all the way back to space, losing the power farm, and it is noticeable that Team Silly Avatar at the moment has 3 times as a high power income as Team Retribution, which is gonna... It could mean some very strong advantages.
Yeah, and at the very top, these Chaos Space Marines are going up against the regular, actually all tactical Marines, to find over the victory point.
Actually, a very nice use of the heretic worship there. The Chaos Marines were just about to go down, but thanks to the heretics worshipping in the background, their health regeneration skyrocketed to a point where they could actually finish capping the top victory point. There was no way they could hold it, but they actually managed to drain a few victory points before having to retreat.
Yeah, sometimes a couple seconds is all you need, but Team Retribution has once again taken the top, and looks like Cool Guy Robokey is taking it upon himself just kind of to watch and hold the top point, much like Cool Guy did in the previous round. However, in the bottom of the map, it looks like there's a bit of an engagement between the Eldar, the Tyranids, and the Imperial Guard. The Eldar are not doing too well in this fight. But
yeah, the thing is that Cool Guy was fighting both of them alone at the beginning, and by the time he actually started getting out there, the Eldar arrived. So it's pretty much a 2 versus 2 situation, but it was 2 versus 1 and then 2 versus 1 again.
Yeah, so Team Retribution's falling back a little. They're trying to consolidate their forces. At the top, they've actually set up a heavy bolter turret that's actually guarding the victory point. So if they could actually push Robokey off of the top point, they should be able to hold a lot better than he can. The catch is they have to get there, and it looks like they're trying now. But
yeah, they're not going to get past that Devastator unless they can get someone to flank it, though.
Yeah,
but it does mean that pretty much no one is... Well, I'm actually surprised those scouts managed to get by without getting suppressed. I was expecting the turret to stop any reinforcement from the side. And we can already see that bottom lane is pretty much... well, it's not a lane anymore. The walls have pretty much come crashing down, and you pretty much got to say that bottom and middle are pretty much one hell of a lane right now.
Yeah, there's
Sentinel finally goes down for Eutep, which is gonna give him a fair bit of less harassing capabilities. Although, to be fair, I do believe Sentinels are much better in smaller scale games, such as 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2. It's very hard to keep them alive in these chaotic 3 versus 3s.
Yeah, they are fairly vicious, but if you have backup, it's not that hard. And the Ravener's tunnels are being picked off slowly, because in the first game, those tunnels came up and they gave Team Silly Avatar just the advantage they need to actually take the first round.
Yeah, the tunnels are absolutely amazing in large-scale team fights, but this is going to be one of the maps that it's a lot harder than many of the others to actually hide those tunnels in far-off places. There's not a lot of places you can actually put those that units aren't going to come by very, very frequently. It's going to be difficult, but it's still gonna be a serious advantage for them.
Yeah, and up top, the top point was decapped, and at some point the middle point got decapped. So, Team Retribution...
we actually got a heavy turret down at the bottom right now, and it is doing some pretty fine work right there. Actually managing to kill off I'm Frustrated Warp Spider XR before I can get there. The Banshees are doing a lot of damage to it though, but the thing is, it's one of the few turrets that... The only turret, I believe, that actually has vehicle armor, so it's gonna take even the Banshees a long time to actually destroy it.
It is basically a tank with no treads, so it makes sense. However, now that the Tyranids have reinforced, they will be able to push them back, but at this point, a little bit of damage is done. They just need to capture...
Oh, very nice. Cool guy just used his warp bus to, instead of trying to destroy a turret that was coming up, he just walked over it and crushed it before it actually got there.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, a few commanders such as the warp bus and the Hive Tyrant can actually break that kind of thing. It can get extremely annoying if your own teammates does it, which can happen. And it does look like, even though Team Retribution right now has once again has a very nice victory point lead, the entirety of Team Silly Avatar is already in Tier 2, and they are preparing their Tier 2 units, which is going to make it very hard to keep them back. I'm Frustrated is trying something very unusual as well, doing a triple Banshee build, which is usually not too recommended in a 3 versus 3, seeing how range is much more valuable there. But I do believe I see where he's going with this. He does have... Oh, dear. If you're looking at his war gear, he's actually got a war gear that gives him the group teleport ability, but he just managed to teleport alone into an entire hive of Tyranids, which, didn't end up too hard for him.
Yeah, that tunnel there, they were able to... The whole goal, I think, was to flank RoboKey to get him out of there, and it did work. So now the top victory point will be heavily entrenched.
Yeah, and there we see the problem with massing melee in this kind of environment. Even though triple Banshees should be really dangerous in theory, that's just way too much firepower that Tyranids had there for them to stand a chance. Which is going to mean that since I'm Frustrated just lost 2 of his Banshee squads, his tactic of using his group teleport is going to be much less effective. If he had managed to keep them alive though, group teleporting 3 Banshee squads behind enemy lines is absolutely devastating.
And Irotep's Manticore comes out and makes his first attack on the Orcs, which devastates a group down
everywhere. There. Oh dear.
So that forces Cool Guy back, and that Tyranid swarm up there is probably going to devour that small group of Orcs right there. Yeah, they're being ripped to pieces. They're falling back. And
yeah, Robokai's got a pretty substantial force still, even though he's forced to retreat. But other than that, Team Silly Avatar is starting to build up into a very devastating force indeed. Brenham once again going triple Marines, who are slowly but surely getting all their Zines upgrades. And we all seen what Irritip's Manticores can do, especially with Guardsman support actually trying to keep it safe. And of course, Lemonade already has a swarm that can pretty much devour any single of the enemy team if he manages to tunnel behind them at any point.
Yeah, Cool Guy's trying to fight off the Tyranids with his war boss, but it's not going too well for them. He's getting his back up here now, but I think that war boss is going down.
Oh, Irritip's in trouble with his Banshees. He did try to kill the Ravener Alpha, but he carted them back to yet another turret deployed by Irritip, and they did take quite a lot of damage. And it looks like, if Lemonrid had been a bit more on the ball there, I'm pretty sure he could have used his Tyranids to rip them apart, which would have led to I'm frustrated not having a single unit on the field aside from his commander.
Well, even his commander is fairly weak at the moment as well.
Yeah, he definitely has to hang back at his base for a while. Kuga is once again going tier 3, which is gonna cost him a fair amount of time, especially considering that his quite frankly his force is gonna be very ineffectual at the moment. The Slugger Boys he has are completely unupgraded, which means that there's basically nothing but guardsmen that they could potentially take on. And his Shooter Boys does have their big shooters at least, but considering he's in tier 3, he really doesn't have a lot of presence. I'm fairly sure almost his combined force couldn't kill the Gene Stealers, for example, aside from the War Boss, of course. Yeah, he's getting a Power Claw, so at least he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, at the very top, Robokey is still eyeing that tower, but he can't quite take it. Brainamp is pretty heavily entrenched, especially with that Shrine to Nurgle, keeping all of his units healed up fairly well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Robokai has actually managed to get close enough to see the tower, but if he did, he could use attack ground on his Plasma Devastators to shoot it down from afar. There's pretty much no way the Heretics could actually survive standing close enough to repair it.
Oh, we have another Manicore strike in the bottom.
Oh dear, and I just heard a lot of orcs exploding there again. And it looks like the orcs are almost going to be... Yeah, I think the orcs are going to get wiped out now. Yeah.
Yeah, there they go. This is practically a 2-on-1 situation. Robokai is really the only one with the standing army against Brainamp and Lemon Ryan's standing army. However, Irotep is mainly defensive. He has a lot of turrets and his Manticore, but he really doesn't have that many other units. He's just kind of fortifying, which, to be honest, that's really all they need since they have 2 of the 3 points.
Yeah, exactly. Robokai is doing what he can, but it is very hard to actually approach this position. Still, we do have Wraith Guards coming in, which are pretty much just what the Doctor ordered in regards to that turret there. They just need to actually start firing before they get melted by the Chaos Marines, who are very, very effective against the Wraith Guard, to be entirely fair.
Yep, but the Tyranids have come up to
and he just
to sort that out.
Barely doesn't Oh, yeah, it actually got destroyed. I don't know how the turret actually went down. I'm thinking the Warp Spider Exarch, actually, he's teleporting a bit behind enemy lines. It looks like he actually managed to land the killing blow. They did manage to kill the turret and the tower, but there's pretty much nothing stopping Brainamp aside from a few resources from doing it once again. Yeah, although it looks like I'm frustrated, just deployed a warp gate behind the lines. Thing is, he doesn't really have anything that can actually use it.
Yeah, well, it's there, so when they need it. However, at this point, Team Silly Avatar is kind of ripping through Team Retribution's resources, so this is kind of a downward spiral. I'm not sure how Team Retribution can recover from this.
Oh, definitely not. The thing is, currently Team Retribution... well, we got Knobs and Last Robocar, of course, being Space Marine, has a lot of heavy armor, and those, pretty much everything on the field right now, are getting heavily countered by both the Gene Steals, the Scenes Marines, and not to mention most of the Guardsmen also are packing plasma rifles. They really need a... I don't even know what they need at this point, but something like a Dreadnought or something would at least force the enemy team to diversify a bit. Not to mention that Manticores aren't particularly great against vehicles.
Yeah, unfortunately...
it's extremely hard to actually kill them.
Yeah, unfortunately, at this point, they don't really have the resources to do anything.
Yeah, exactly, and I do think that was a mistake on Kugai's part in particular. He tried to rush tier 3 again to get Knobs, but the thing is, if you don't really have a standing army, those Knobs are going to be pretty inconsequential if they're actually alone. Orcs do have a very strong tier 2, and I do believe something like stick bombers or perhaps a weird boy would be very helpful, since they're excellent against the entrenched positions that were used by Team Silly Avatar in this particular game.
Well, Cool Guy is going up the middle with his knobs and his war
very
boss.
very sneaky backcapping there, actually.
However, now he's kind of in the middle of enemy territory and he's about to be surrounded.
Yeah, he should probably be getting those knobs out of there. He might try to get a few model kills on those. Yeah, he's getting out of there.
And he's
going to run through a lot of plasma fire, but the real danger is definitely the Gene Stealers, who fortunately did get knocked down by one of the stray Manticore shots, so they are going to get away without any major model losses. Still, though, that could have been extremely dangerous, but definitely props for actually getting all the way back there. Lemonade is being real sneaky too, though. He seems like he's got an elixir for the sole purpose of backcapping. And he's actually even getting out a Swarmlord now.
Yep, he even said Swarmlord on the way, but...
Yeah, there's pretty much nothing on the field that's going to be able to stand up to that. The closest thing is... well, the knobs are going to be pretty strong, but they are... I think they got their meaner and greener upgrade, but they definitely need hammers if they're going to be fighting a super unit like that. And then it all comes down to if he can actually dodge the super swipe ability the Swarmlord has. If you can dodge that, they should be able to take him, but otherwise they can pretty much get taken down to a quarter health.
Yep, and Robokey has actually taken your advice and gotten a Dreadnought, but it might be just a little bit too late. With all 3 points, they have they're
pretty much entirely pushed in, and they only got a single power node, so it's going to be almost impossible for them to get any high-tech units at this point, aside from the ones already on the field.
Yeah, and if they can't capture even a single point, there's a minute left to this game.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure at this point Cool Guy can't even reinforce his knobs because they're so power-starved. So basically what happened this game was that bottom lane was taken care of entirely early on, and well, at that point Team Silly Avatar just had such a resource lead that they could get far better upgrades and units, and Team Retribution was able to field.
Yeah, I think Team Silly Avatar also just had better coordination, because Irishep, for the most part, really didn't have units. All he did was turtle. So he really didn't have to worry about too much combat. He would just let the enemy run into him, because once they got a significant
they did lose his Manticore now, but it certainly served the team well for pretty much the entire game. And looks like we've got another Rock Barrage coming down. It might be taking down the Lictor before it can get out of there. No, he's just barely able to get away.
Here comes a Thule. No, they see it, and
whoop!
They destroyed the shell of the tank. Or wait, that was a drop pod.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a Force Commander. We're not going to be seeing any fools coming out of him. I think that was probably. I wouldn't even call it a desperation move. I think it was just a spite move.
Yeah, it was kind of a comedy move. Robokai is already GG'd. I'm frustrated. And get ready for the big reveal. I guess it's in a little bit. And in true multiplayer fashion, we got a rampaging Chaos Dreadnought up at the base to finish off things. Yeah, but at this point, Lemon Rind, even though Team Silly Avatar has won, has admitted that he was the one who started all this by getting Cool Guy his Silly Avatar. Ah, well played, good sir. Well played. Actually, just about missed that until you mentioned it. Yeah, I kind of suspected that just because I know fairly well 5 of the 6 players. I didn't know Lemon Rind as well, so having him on the team, I just kind of suspected all from the start that he had to be the mysterious benefactor. Yeah, especially considering I believe Brainam was the mediator for this challenge. I believe one actually issuing it as the middleman. Yep. So this has been the bet challenge. This round probably could have gone a little bit better, but just due to some bad engagements early on, Team Retribution really didn't have much of a shot.
Definitely not, even though there are fewer comeback mechanics in regard to how you're getting more resources if you lost the units early. This was pretty much a prime example of how an early tech lead can be leveraged to just close a game pretty much halfway through. But but Team Retribution definitely tried to help their own all the way through, so props to them. I had a lot of fun watching both these matches, to be sure.
It was a fun 3 matches, and thank you for commenting with me on the last 2 matches.
Oh, what's a pleasure. It's been a while, and I certainly enjoyed it.
Yep. So with that, I have been Torlon.
And I've been Sun Silver.
Yeah. And have a good night.